Welcome, welcome. Hi, Monica. Hi,
Okay.
Stephen. Hi, Bill. Wendy. Kasha, good to see you.
Hello.
Becca and Byron. Looks like they're coming on. Looks like Brian's coming on. Carol, good to see your world.
We always love Carol's world.
Hi,
She sits.
Brian. Good to see you. There is Carol, fading in and out from her world.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Let's see, Susan, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Karen, thank you for joining us. Looks like Michelle is on her way. All right, good. We're getting a nice group tonight. Welcome, Michelle. Great. Well, Stephen, it's good to see you. We missed you
Always
last
lovely.
week.
Yeah, I missed you too, Kevin. Missed everybody.
So my throat compared to last week, well, last week it held out and then it went, lost my voice for a few days. Now it's coming back. But if I drop out, Stephen is here tonight to the rescue. He can take over, but I think all will be well. Byron and Becca, good to see you. Great. All right, so let's get started. And as always, I want to thank Humanity's team for hosting us, Garth for handling the controls. And we are continuing tonight with Awakening the Mind by Anna Wise. And tonight we are having our house painted. And so I have a white wall behind me, but I thought I would, since tonight we are going to focus on, I titled it Strengthening Your Inner Senses, but we're going to do it in a very specific way. We're going to focus on your spiritual senses. So focus on being in a spiritual place and tuning into spiritual energies through your different senses. So through visualizing and feel, kinesthetic sense, auditory sense, smell, fragrance, and taste. And so let me read a little bit about the importance of sensualization to increase clarity, vividness, and the emotional impact of your inner senses and your spiritual experiences. So these inner senses can be used to really tune into and embody spiritual energies, sacred energies. And so I'm wearing my Reiki, oh, it reverses it, my Reiki jacket. And this is a Reiki symbol behind me, the holy fire symbol. And so that's where I'm going to be headed in this meditation. And what we want each of you to do is to just begin to call to mind what is a spiritual energy for you, or what does spirituality or spiritual connection or a spiritual feeling mean to you, and how might that be embodied in a sacred temple? So a place that embodies this spiritual energy that you are tuning into. And so that's going to be unique to each of you. What is spiritual is unique to each of us. That felt sense within us when we say, I feel deeply connected to something beyond me, something bigger than me, something divine or holy or sacred or a deep presence. So just think of a place, a space that would embody that for you. So it could be a temple, like a physical temple that you would think of as a temple or a cathedral or something like, or a chapel, or it could be a temple in nature. It's really whatever embodies that energy for you. Okay. And I just want to read a little from Anna about the importance of using our sensual, our inner senses, our 6 inner senses. And she, on page 63, she has a sensualization scale. And this is a way to start to gauge how vivid and clear the specific sense you are using or senses you are using are. So at the top of the scale, when you're tuning in through an inner sense, like maybe visualizing or hearing a sacred sound, maybe the sound of a sacred bell, the highest clarity would be it's lifelike. So your eyes are closed and you're tuning in through this inner sense, and it's just like you're being there in the physical, so to speak. So it's as vivid and distinctive as the actual experience. So that's what she calls number 1. Number 2 is it's quite clear and well defined. It's representative of, but not quite equal to the actual experience. Number 3, there's intermediate clarity, but still realistic imagery. 4 is you have a hazy sensualization with minimal representation of the actual experience of being there. 5 is kind of formless, dim, or indistinct, not really recognizable. And 6 is generating no sensual experience at all. It's only thinking of the experience. And the reason I bring this up is because a lot of times in meditation, what happens with people is Stephen and I are guiding you to feel something, to have a deep felt sense. And really, you're just conceptualizing. You're just thinking it. You're not feeling it. And then people might say, well, I don't know. That wasn't a very profound experience for me. And that's because it's just happening in the conceptual mind, not in the visceral, the felt sense. And so that's what we're looking at generating today is these 6 visceral felt senses. She goes on to say that don't discount brief moments of sensual experience. By recognizing even a split second of clarity and vividness, you can learn to lengthen that much more easily. So often people will not recognize or admit to themselves that brief instant of clarity when the experience was extremely lucid. And they continue to think that they can't achieve clear sensualization because they are not able to maintain it. So a lot of times we'll have a moment where we're like, and then it kind of fades or it's gone. But value that moment. Value each moment that you tune in and have a moment of clarity, vividness of that felt experience through whatever sense that you're tuning in with. And then she goes on to say on page 65 that practicing what she calls alpha development sensualization exercises. So these sensualizations emphasize alpha brainwaves. So that's why she calls them that. They can be helpful for more than just brainwave development. For example, if you're an artist, seeing and feeling your art before you create it will greatly enhance your creative process. By sensualizing the next chapter you're writing, you can unblock writer's block. By hearing the music, a composer understands the next movement. So no matter what your creative medium, writing, painting, sculpture, music, cooking, gardening, you will improve your creative ability and productivity the more you're able to expand your essentialization repertoire. So, same with, cooking. And I would add, since I'm bringing up the Reiki symbol here, inner healing processes are greatly enhanced using centralization and bringing this imagery and the feeling and the sound and the touch and the taste and the smell and the fragrance into an experience to deepen it, as well as meditation. Meditation is deepened by adding these elements of centralization. Okay, so with that as an intro, let's move right into our practice. And so before we begin, number one, I'm going to take a sip of tea. Before we begin, call to mind or just allow to arise a moment when you felt a deep sense of spiritual connection, or just a feeling of connection with life, with vastness, with something beyond yourself. And once you have a moment like that in mind, so again, it could be in anywhere, in nature, in a sacred temple, wherever it is, just let that, hold that in the back of your mind as we move into the meditation, and we'll flesh that out using all our inner senses. So just take a moment to, excuse me, to settle in your seat. And become present. Here now. Allowing yourself to be just as you are. Just noticing any thoughts or feelings that are present. And allowing all of that to be okay. Now call to mind your intention for your practice. Why is this important to you? Why is it important to you to strengthen your spiritual sense, your spiritual senses? And consider that your practice is not only for you, that the effect of your practice, our practice, extends to all of us gathered here, to all of our loved ones, to everyone you interact with. And even more widely and invisibly, to all beings, our whole planet, and throughout our collective consciousness and all that is. You are an important part of a greater whole, a vast consciousness. And your felt sense of connection with that is your spiritual sense. So consider dedicating your practice and our practice to the connection of all beings with their deeper spiritual sense. To a deeper connection with all of life and the source of life. That vast mystery and the magic of that. Now let's focus down into the soles of our feet. Really feel the sensations of contact with the ground, with the earth underneath us. With our home here now on this earth. Feel that connection through the soles of your feet. Allow that sense of grounding in the presence of the earth to flow up through your feet, your shins and calves, your knees and thighs, into your hips and your pelvic bowl, resting down in your seat. Now focus into your palms resting cupped in your lap. Awaken sensory awareness here in your hands. Allow your hands to soften and relax, as if they're melting down into your legs. Feel the soft openness in your hands. Feel how the soft openness in your hands connects to the soft openness of your heart, the seat of your soul, and your deepest spiritual senses. As your hands relax, allow your arms and shoulders to relax down, releasing any tension in your shoulders and your neck. Imagine a string attached to the top of your head, drawing your spine gently upright, like a string of luminous pearls. Feel your spine gently stretched from your perineum and tailbone right up through the top of your head, like a stream of light. Then tuck your chin just slightly, gently lengthening the back of your neck. Lightly close your lips and breathe in and out through your nose. Rest your tongue upon the roof of your mouth, with the tip of your tongue touching the gum line behind your upper front teeth. And soften, relax your tongue here. Softening your tongue sends a relaxation signal through your vagus nerve, from the center of your brain down through your heart, your abdomen, and out through your whole body. As you feel this relaxation, smile. a subtle smile of deep peace and calm happiness, of deep connection to your spiritual source. Allow that feeling of smiling to shine through your eyes. Release any tension in your eyebrows and your forehead. Allow that relaxed feeling of smiling to wash down through your whole body. Feel the space of your whole body. Warm, relaxed, and connected. And now within your inner space, call to mind a sacred temple, a place that embodies spiritual energy and what that means to you. That gives you that felt sense of vast presence and deep connection with all of life and the source of life. And first, we're going to use our kinesthetic sense as we experience walking up toward this sacred temple. So you might feel yourself walking on a certain kind of path. What does it feel like to walk on that path? That brings in a tactile sense as well, the feeling of your footsteps on that path. So you're moving and you're feeling that path underneath you as you approach this sacred temple. And perhaps it has a door, perhaps there's some kind of natural entryway that you walk through now. So now you're feeling yourself walk in. You're beginning to feel the atmosphere of this space. And you walk over to a beautiful seat, just a perfect place to sit in this sacred temple. It's just right there before you. So kinesthetically, walk up to that and feel yourself sitting down in this seat. So you feel your knees and your hips bend, and you sit down in this seat. And now tactile sense again. What's it feel like to sit on this seat? Maybe it has arms, or it can be any kind of seat, whatever feels perfect for this sacred temple. So what's it feel like? What's the sensation of that seat underneath you, the tactile sense? Feel the weight of your body sitting down in the seat, resting in the presence of this space. Ah, feels so good here. It's like an oasis. Now we'll bring in our auditory sense. Listen to the sounds of this space. So what sounds are in your space? Perhaps sacred bell? Sounds of water or nature? An organ? What sounds do you hear? Allow yourself to immerse in those sound waves. Feel them flowing through you. Hear that vibration. What do you hear? And Stephen will guide us from here.
So as you're feeling your way through this sacred temple, just as Kevin's guided you, I want you to notice now what you see. For example, in my temple, I'm in Kuan Yin's temple in Japan. And there is a beautiful old light, a flickering candlelight. Dozens of candles placed in front and around the temple. What do you see around your sacred place? Start to notice visually some of the details. Perhaps there's flame, burning fire. So they have two torches that are actually burning in the temple. Maybe there's an image of a sacred figure, a master, an avatar, Christ, Kuan Yin, the Buddha, Isis. Maybe depending on what part of the world you're in, different images arise in your consciousness. Since this is your sacred place, you can put whomever you want there. They might arise suddenly as I'm mentioning them. Perhaps there's flowers. In the temple I am, which is an actual temple just down the street from us, there are many lotuses. There's a lotus pond there. What kind of flowers are there in your temple? So just notice visually what's there. So there are many lotuses. You might transform your flowers. Since this is your temple, this is your sacred place, and it's filled with all these senses. So mine has 10,000 petal lotuses arranged around the temple. And actually in the real temple, they have lotuses displayed throughout the temple. There could be a gleaming golden being. In the actual temple, it's a gleaming golden Guan Yin. What is there in your temple? Maybe there's something that's very stark or very visually significant. Just notice what arises. Notice what other parts are in the temple that you see. Perhaps your temple is filled with smoke. The temples that I have near me are always filled with actual smoke, incense smoke, since that's part of the entry into the sacred temple. And maybe there's special types of light. Just notice the light in your temple. How does it move? How does it dance in your vision? So in my temple, there's a light that floods through the very front of the temple. Your temple might be a cathedral. It could even be a temple in another world. It might not be a actual physical temple. It could be an ethereal or celestial temple. Just notice the way it's arising in the consciousness. So it could be stained glass windows in a cathedral. So just notice. Notice what's present. Notice in the combination of Kevin's senses that he guided you into, what is now added to this? How does it arise? And now, because this is your sacred temple, just notice what arises in the senses of taste. So particularly in my temple, there is a nectar taste because of you can actually feel it in the air. There's a sense of, you can taste it on the tip of your tongue because of the way that they create the smells. There is also a taste that's left. You can choose to do whatever you choose to do in your temple, in your sacred place. Maybe you have a tea ceremony where you taste Japanese tea at the end. I taste Japanese tea every day at the end of some ceremony or other. Or maybe there's a taste of wine, communion wine, if your temple is more a Christian-based temple. Or maybe it's some other kind of liquid that's present. Maybe it's a liquid not even that you might find on earth, like amrita, or the sacred nectar of immortality. You can taste anything you want. Or maybe it is ambrosia and nectar, maybe a substance from another space or time altogether. Maybe it's a much more alchemical taste. But just notice what tastes arise naturally for you. So the temple that I have just near my house, they always leave offerings. People often taste certain morsels or food before they make the offering. So maybe there's some kind of ritual food offering that you taste and place. Just notice what arises in your taste. And now go into the sense of smell. For me, smell is sometimes my strongest sense. I can smell things from a long, long way away. What is the smell in your sacred place, in your sacred temple? The other day I was walking to our sacred temple and suddenly a smell of lavender sprung all up on the path to the temple, even though there was no lavender. What's the smell that's most predominant for you? Could be the smell of incense burning. What you smell might direct your attention to noticing that there is incense burning. Or maybe it's the smell of a sacred perfume like frankincense or myrrh. The smell in the Japanese temples where I am is very strong. It's the smell of incense. There's a smell of delicate perfumes that are left. There's the smell of different scents of flowers that are present and laid. So just notice what's present when you bring smell. Right at this moment, I've got the sudden smell of a perfume, a little like frankincense. arising in my room. Just notice what's present in your sacred place. And now for a few moments, just put all those senses together at once. See if you can connect all of them, what you feel, what you hear, what you touch, all the senses Kevin guided you into, and then what you see, and what you taste, and what you smell. Bring them all together for a few moments and just dwell in the wondrous feelings, smells, images, sounds, tastes, sights that are present. And then while you're in that sacred place, while you're in the sacred fullness of all your senses, see if you can bring to mind exactly the kind of life that you would like to live and that you would like it to be, exactly as you want it to be right now. And that could be what is happening to you right this very moment. What would that life look like? So this is your future self connecting into this sacred temple. What would it feel like? What would it sound like? What would it smell like and taste like if your life was exactly the way you'd like it to be? Just feel into that for a few moments. And as you feel in the full quality of the life you want to be, just as it is from this beautiful sacred temple, now expand that out to the entire cosmos. See if with your full sensualization, you can feel the entire cosmos with its stars and planets and all the energies and currents of light and dark energy flowing throughout the cosmos. See if you can sensualize all of that. What would that look like, feel like, sound like, smell like, and taste like? And then bring that all the way into the solar system. What would it look like, feel like, if you could feel into the whole solar system with the planets whirling around the sun, all the way from Mercury out to Pluto, and all the asteroid belts? What would it sound like, smell like, taste like? And then bring it all the way into the Earth itself. If you were Earth, if you were the mother, what would it look like as planet Earth? What would it feel like to feel the whole planet was all that's happening on our surface and beneath? What would it sound like, smell like, taste like? And I know what it feels like because this morning we had a big earthquake right under my bathtub. So my bathtub sloshed and felt just like the earth rocking and rolling. So I have a very good feeling of what it feels like. What if you would bring this close now, just around your house? Just notice, what does it look like around your house in your close neighborhood? What does it feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like? And then bring it closer to the walls and space in your room, just around you, right where you're sitting or lying or being with us right now. What does it look like in your room? What does it feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like? Then bring that all the way into your body, awareness of your body sensations. What does your body look like? You might view it from the outside or just from its surface. What does it feel like to be in your body? What does it sound like? What does your body smell like? And what does it taste like to be inside you? Then come right into the center of your heart. What does it look like to be right at the center of your heart? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? What does it smell or taste like? Right there. And then finally, if you go right into the center of that center, right into the single point, the 0 point of your heart, what would that look like? What would that void feel like? What would it sound like? What would that smell or taste like? And then finally, let go of even that practice. Just simply dissolve altogether and relax all effort. Let this practice too melt into space. Let it melt into the center point of that void and stop trying to do anything at all. Just dwell in the great oneness of the senses of love that are beyond all description and beyond all words and beyond all thought. And then slowly, very slowly, open your eyes a crack at a time, remaining in this felt sense of awakened, refreshed, alert presence. And as you sit there and rest, allow yourself to reflect on this meditation experience. Consider what you learned, perhaps what wisdom arose. Which sense was the most vivid? Was it seeing, hearing, feeling, touching, tasting, smelling? Which was the weakest? Did you have a strong connection in each one of those senses? Was it evenly spread, or was it just one or two? Did you have strong flashes? And did they come briefly, or were they sustained? Did they disappear as quickly as they came? Or could you maintain the vividness? If somebody said, I want you to think of an orange and keep that orange for an entire minute without wavering, does that happen? And what's the easiest sense for you to access this? For example, if I say see something, does that work? Or feel something? Or smell something? Or taste something? Or hear something? So if I said right now to myself, lavender smell, I'll go straight to the forest path with all the visual, sound, everything's there. Just notice what's your access point. So don't discount even the briefest of experiences, because that brief experience where suddenly it's very vivid, that split second of clarity is actually the key. Often we discount it because we think we can't maintain it. But in fact, it's that brief instant of insight or lucidity or clarity that is so very important. Sometimes we get a little stuck in just one sense, and we live most of our lives just one sense. So this is a very useful experiment to simply feel into lots of different senses and explore. So on that note, I'm going to pass back to Kevin. And thank you, Kevin, always for that amazing guidance. I was so deep in that, I had to actually come, took a literal moment. I was so deep, I didn't even know. And then you said my name and I came out. So I
don't
popped.
make me laugh. It could be bad from coughing.
Yeah, I won't make you laugh. It was so good, Kevin. It was so good. I was literally right in this temple and I was about to do something. And then I realized, oh, you said my name. That's right. I've got to do something. So it was very funny. So I love that. Thank you so much for that brilliant guidance. And yeah, pass to you for anybody for questions or insights or sharing.
Likewise. Thank you, Stephen. Let's see. Feel free to share in the chat and or raise your hand and we'll call on you. Let's see. Carol loves the painting there. Yes, the Holy Fire Reiki symbol. Means a lot to me. She said she began to tremble inside when I used my sight to see where I would like to be. It was then that I realized coasts are important to my soul's nourishment. I would like to explore and visit other countries' coastlines. Nice. Liz says salient lucidity. Like that. Liz, you always have great words. Thank you. Anyone else want to share anything about either what sense really works for you or anything about where you went or anything you'd like to express? Did you enjoy that? Kasha. You're muted.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when we went in to the smaller point in, and what did it feel like? It was like in was also out. We went in and so far in that it just was in and small and big at the same time. Thank you. Beautiful.
Nice. Well put. Let's see. Monica says, thank you, Kevin and Stephen. Love the practice and seeing everyone. May need to leave a little early. Okay. Love you all. Love you, Monica. Heard a smiling tiki totem. Tiki totem pole face. Oh, nice. Maybe like Hawaii. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Monica. Thanks for being here. Karen says, thank you. I went really deep and felt myself falling a couple times. My sense of sight was the strongest and feeling the one I had at least access to. Nature is what fuels my soul. Very nice. Thank you, Karen. Yes, Byron.
My space was the last time we went to Costa Rica, and we went to a ceiba tree. A ceiba tree is a sacred tree to the Aboriginals in Central and South America. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had this just overwhelming sense of peace, you know, that just flooded my body. So that's kind of what that was the temple I went back to.
Mm, mm.
And what was interesting about it is I could still see, you know, the forest and the birds, and you know, the smell and feel the bark on the tree and everything, because I really wanted to imprint it on myself when it happened, because it was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But what really caught me with this time was it wasn't just that particular place. There was also an area nearby that we had gone to where it had this like turquoise stream and a turquoise waterfall. And it was turned out the spirit, or the spiritual part of it, ended up being this whole large area, not just, you know, it was almost like the spirit of the earth, of the land, more than just the tree, but of the whole land and everything around it.
Mm,
So it became a much bigger experience. It was very nice.
mm. Nice. And I love the way you describe when you're there, allowing it to imprint on you.
Mhm.
You know, like we often really quick take pictures, and you know, sometimes we're taking so many pictures we don't really feel where we are and allow it to imprint on our energy field, and that becomes really palpable and memorable.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Byron. Wonderful. Becca.
And for me, it was, I have a spot in my head that sometimes vibrates through on its own, and when I'm relaxed especially. And so that was the first kind of sense and message. And for me, we were in same Costa Rica, but it was at this lady who'd built a church up on the hill and at a dairy farm. And her husband was buried there, and she was going to be buried there. And just feeling the sense of walking through the door, then the energy of the guard that you put up, Stephen, the two with the candles, and creating that space, and then knowing that the tension that I collect at times is that the vibration that is stuck, and that as I was letting go of things, that it would flow through to where that vibration I know is there. And it just, yeah, it's a glimpse. I know I've heard things even out of it, where I've heard, don't worry, everything will be okay,
Oh, yeah.
when I was young. And then it gave me another psychic experience, and I just let it go. I don't want to have that. I didn't want to have that. But now I might seek more of understanding the energy that moves through the body, and that different sense of feeling what's around you.
Yeah.
And then to be led to the smell, and I'm wearing a pheromone tonight and another kind of a skin activator. So I got all kinds of smells and good stuff. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Thank you, Becca. Anyone else? Oh, let's see. This says, Monica, this is next to me. Ah, nice. There's the tiki. Bill, yes.
Yes, thanks. That was wonderful, both of you. I had my usual spot that I go to in the parkland, with a little babbling creek, which I even dream about it sometimes. And and often when I'm meditating on that site with them, and it's all in that natural woodlands, and I'll often feel just a flood of white light will move. I'll just kind of sweeps over me when I'm mentally meditating, visualizing myself there, and all of a sudden there'll just be a sweeping of a white light will pass over me.
Mm,
So very, very meaningful for me.
mm.
Someday I'll stay there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's you. That's
Oh,
your
it was
portal, Bill.
beautiful. Beautiful. Well, very well done, guys.
Mm,
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Bill.
And it's good to see everyone.
Wonderful to see you as well. Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in Thailand and I was in a treehouse. So I was up a very tall tree where I'm out of reach and the wind is blowing and I can smell the salt. And then a plane went over here and I'm like, I got drawn back. I'm like, no, there's no planes in this place. And so I felt my mind saying that. I'm like, back to my canvas pillar, daybed and looking over the ocean, hearing the waves. Then a truck went by. And I'm like, there's no truck near here. And so I kept getting drawn out and in and out and in. And when Stephen said about the candles, our candles appeared and then the wind blew them out. So I had all these sorts of visions. I was trying to smell the salt, but I don't think I couldn't really smell it. But I could smell the idea of it, but not actually smell it.
Mhm.
So but I was getting very frustrated with my human body senses here because it was just taking me out of where I want to be. And yeah, I got the taste with the sweet drink that they serve at hotels when I'm in Thailand, and the sight, but I couldn't quite get the smell. I felt the wooden steps on under my feet as I walked up, but I really wanted to smell the salt. So that was my experience.
Nice, thank you. And so we all have certain senses there that are very present to us and others that we can cultivate. And that's a wonderful practice too. Use your stronger sense to connect to you and then allow it to include other senses. All right, anyone else before we go? All right, well, wonderful. Thank you all for being here. Such a joy to be with you all always and be a part of this deeply engaged community. And we will continue with Awakening the Mind next week. And just want to say thank you again for being here. Love and blessings to all of you. Thank you to Humanities team and Garth. And have a wonderful week. We'll see you here again, same time, same link, and feel free to invite anyone you'd like to join us. Okay, bye for now.